The emptiness of modern life has long been an ideal expressed throughout the works of Italian auteur Michelangelo Antonioni. The existential thoughts and worlds that surround that of an Antonioni picture speak to both the expressive and mundane qualities of the human experience. And whilst these enigmatic and haunting themes permeate throughout the plethora of Antonioni's works, they are perhaps never realized better than within the landmark films present in his trilogy of decadence. Each of the three films in this trilogy demonstrates Antonioni at his most mesmerizing and assured, consistently balancing his complex ideals with a metaphysical melancholia that is quite unlike anything else. For as Jack Nicholson famously put it, while most movies celebrate the way we connect with one another, the films of Antonioni mourn the failures to connect. In arguably his most acclaimed and lauded work, Michelangelo Antonioni set out to reinvent the cinematic language with his mysterious masterpiece, L'Avventura. Antonioni's film concerns the elusive disappearance of the young woman Anna during a yachting trip off the coast of Sicily, and the eventual search taken up by her current lover and her best friend. Like all of his works, L'Avventura remains distant and ambiguous, rejecting traditional narrative functions in favour of character emotion and sensibility. After initially presenting the possibility of a Hitchcockian-style mystery, Antonioni shifts these conventions to instead focus on the rhythm of the world and the characters that inhabit it. Finding beauty in the aimless, in this sequence we observe Monica Vitti's central character of Claudia as she is waiting for Sandro, who has just entered the Trinacera Hotel, where they believe Anna is staying. She seems torn, internally divided by her feelings for Sandro and her friendship with Anna. After she has asked Sandro to go in alone, Claudia waits outside as a group of men appear to gather around her. They move as she moves, gliding through the scene with a sexualized and somewhat threatening rhythm. Although this sequence may have its very roots drenched in class dynamics and poverty, the focus here should be on Claudia's physical presence, which seems unfazed by the world around her, with this acting as a mere spark for the fear and conflict that still lingers on within her mind. This is an observation proven when she thinks she sees Sandro and Anna coming down the stairs, and she subsequently runs into a nearby paint store to hide. Through to its iconic final sequence, Antonioni's world is desolate, expressive, and haunting. He presents a vision of extraordinary profoundness, for his focus is on the pain of those living and the mystery of the life in which they live. It seems the characters of L'Avventura are too lonely and lost to love one another. They seem to be trying to escape their boredom by reaching out to each other, yet it is inevitable that they will become lost once again. For Antonioni, pleasure seems to be an escape, and it is anything that momentarily distracts his characters from the misery of their own existence. So although nothing may appear to be resolved in L'Avventura, this is precisely the point. Antonioni's silent cry of despair is a vessel for his true feelings on the harshness of life and the everlasting pursuit to make it meaningful. Because much like the film and its constant rejections of narrative purpose, life doesn't have the answers for those seeking an escape from the tedious void of their own existence.
Sempre io. E io che non capivo niente.
La Notte,
Non mi rendevo conto.
Michelangelo Antonioni's follow-up to the elusive L'Avventura, remains one of the director's most visually striking and modernist efforts. Like all of his works, the plot of La Notte seems minimalist on its surface, seemingly only following the day in the life of an unfaithful married couple as their relationship slowly begins to deteriorate. Iconic actors Marcello Mastroianni, Jean Moreau star as the novelist and his frustrated wife, present at the forefront of Antonioni's vehicle. With its moody and dreamlike cinematography, once again, La Notte features the drifting sequences we have come to expect from Antonioni. Like all his works, the focus on a cohesive narrative beginning and end aren't the intention here. Instead, Antonioni seeks to observe and explore the many forgotten conversations and actions that make up a large portion of our unremarkable yet complicated existences. As we watch his characters at a nightclub in this sequence, we observe an accompanying and seductive performance by a female dancer. This occurs while Antonioni's characters engage in reluctant small talk.
La vita sarebbe sopportabile se non ci fossero I piaceri.
E tu, eh?
No, io non ho più idee. Ho soltanto memoria.
This line tells us everything we need to
Mi
know
dici questo pensierino?
about the relationship between the unfaithful couple, who continue to distance
Andiamo dai
themselves
Gherardini.
from their truths and frustrations in an existential and subtle way.
Tanto per fare
Whether it
qualcosa.
be at a nightclub or at a millionaire's party, these characters seem to be intent on delaying the inevitable, intent on diminishing their time and moments together, as opposed to confronting the truths of their deteriorating relationship. It is clear to see that Antonioni's true cinematic purpose is to demonstrate the passing of time in relation to the cinematic form, in a narrative that only occurs over the course of one day. Antonioni and his characters seek to examine their emotional core, determine the root of their love, and try to establish whether or not this is even possible in a world built from extravagance and self-indulgence. Undoubtedly one of the most reflective portraits of Italian upper-class society, La Notte is the cinematic embodiment of personal and romantic desolation, for as hinted in the film, perhaps we are all merely only a result of what we read. Michelangelo Antonioni's distinct perception of the modern world, L'Eclisse, stands true as one of his most elusive and intriguing works. This apocalyptic view of love chronicles the story of a woman who leaves one lover and moves into a relationship with an alluring young stockbroker. Antonioni's vision of this doomed relationship is revelatory. He invites us to drift into his world of enigmatic voids and paralyzed time. Few directors have the ability to manipulate cinematic time and space. However, Antonioni allows the fluidity and tempo of his film to drift in and out when required. It is particularly fascinating to dissect his choices regarding his blocking and movement, all of which works in unison with Gianni Di Venanzo's mesmerizing cinematography to further emphasize Antonioni's control of his own craft. There are no conventional narrative elements in L'Eclisse, nor does the film reach a climatic peak or resonance, thus defying conventional expectation, and instead seeking to create meaning on a deeper level. Comparable to the themes showcased in the previous scene from La Notte, here in L'Eclisse, Antonioni once again showcases the difficulty of connection in a frequently alienating modern world. Communicating without words, it is clear to see that these characters are not only a result of their surroundings, they are part of the atmosphere, an existential depression at the heart of these new Roman streets. Having returned from a park walk, when the couple reach her building, he soon kisses her. But it appears she is uneasy. Is she perhaps thinking about her recent encounter with death? Or is there something far more metaphysical at play here?
Io vado.
Proclaiming her prompt departure, before she exits, she drops a piece of wood into a barrel of water, the same piece of wood she had previously broken off a construction site earlier, once again providing a further link to the world of these people and the architectural objects that are arising around them. As his two frequently distant and monotonous characters glide through the streets, Antonioni's true message surfaces, with themes focusing on the growing difficulty of connection in modern society. The Cleese has never been more relevant. Antonioni's critique of the modern age is showcased by the world that surrounds his characters, and the constant, everlasting tedium that is reflected upon them, demonstrating an effortless manipulation of the form. The Cleese exhibits the rare power of complete cinematic unison. Here the visual imagery and the mental imagery merge and evolve as one, resulting in a surreal experience only a master like Antonioni could pull off. With his psychologically charged visions of relationships and existentialism, the films of Michelangelo Antonioni are one of the finest examples of cinematic poetry. For these solemn visions of human hostility and isolation speak to our very soul as humans. Here Antonioni captures and showcases an array of stories and perspectives that are often forgotten in cinema. These are the stories of those who are lost, crafted for those of us absorbed by the monotony of life.